United States does not seek escalation, we will continue to take all necessary action to defend Israel and U.S. personnel.
I think officials had said last week that additional U.S. military assets have been sent to the region. Are those assets still in place, or have they been moved out now?
As of right now, those assets are still in place. What you saw happen over the weekend was an incredible and extraordinary response by the U.S. and Israel and coalition partners when it came to defending Israel. And I think we've been pretty clear that we don't want to see escalation into a wider regional war. And I'll just leave it there. Jamie. U.S. forces in the Middle East intercepted dozens of missiles and uncrewed aerial vehicles after Iran and its proxies launched more than 300 air threats on the evening of April 13 and the morning of April 14 from Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen en route to Israel, to include over 110 medium-range ballistic missiles, over 30 land attack cruise missiles, and over 150 UAVs. U.S. Central Command highlighted in their press release that CENTCOM forces, supported by the U.S. Navy destroyers USS Arleigh Burke and USS Carney, currently assigned to the European Command AOR, successfully engaged and destroyed more than 80 one-way attack UAVs and at least 6 ballistic missiles intended to strike Israel from Iran and Yemen. This included a ballistic missile on its launcher vehicle and 7 UAVs destroyed on the ground in Iranian-backed Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen prior to their launch. Secretary Austin is grateful for the professionalism and skill of the brave U.S. troops who took part in the defense of Israel and who continue to stand guard to prevent further conflict or escalation. Throughout the weekend and into today, Secretary Austin has held multiple calls with international partners and allies, as well as with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, senior DoD leaders, and the CENTCOM and EUCOM commanders to actively monitor the situation and reinforce U.S. and international resolve in the face of Iranian aggression. Secretary Austin has also been in frequent contact with his Israeli counterpart, Minister Gallant, speaking to him 3 times over the weekend. During their most recent call yesterday, the two leaders reviewed the successful combined operation by the United States, Israel, and their partners to defend Israel from these unprecedented attacks by Iran and its proxies, and emphasized that while the United States does not seek escalation, we will continue to take all necessary action to defend Israel and U.S. personnel. As it relates to U.S. forces and the response over the weekend, as you know, as a matter of operation security, we're not going to be able to go into the specifics in terms of the numbers of fighters involved at this time, other than to say, again, U.S. fighters were involved in the response and participated in taking down, as I highlighted, over 80 UAVs that were one-way attack UAVs that were en route to Israel. Thank you. Jennifer.
General Ryder, were you given a heads up about the scope and scale of this attack?
So I think what you're asking was, did Iran give us a heads up? No, they did not.
But were you given a heads up through allies?
We were not given specifics by Iran, and to my knowledge, any specifics in terms of exact times, dates. We obviously have a robust intelligence network that provides indications and warning, but to answer your specific question, no, Iran did not tell us when and where they were going to attack.
And just in terms of is the U.S. concerned that U.S. forces in the region would be in jeopardy if Israel retaliates for Saturday night, and is that why the U.S. is not participating in a potential retaliation?
Well, look, I don't want to get into hypotheticals at this point. Whether or not Israel responds to Iran's attack, of course, is something for Israel to discuss and to decide. As Secretary Austin has said, both publicly and privately, we don't want to see escalation, but we obviously will take necessary measures to protect our forces in the region. And as was demonstrated over the weekend, we'll take necessary measures to defend Israel. Thank you.
I think officials had said last week that additional U.S. military assets have been sent to the region. Are those assets still in place, or have they been moved out now?
As of right now, those assets are still in place.
And then you've talked previously about Iran not seeking conflict with the United States. Is that still accurate? Do you today believe that Iran is not seeking conflict with the United States or Israel?
Are you asking me if Iran is speaking? I'm not going to speak for Iran. I mean, certainly from the United States, we do not seek conflict with Iran.
Conflict before. So today, is that statement still accurate?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak for Iran. Thanks. Will?
Two questions on the Middle East. Has Israel informed the Pentagon if it plans to respond to the Iranian attack? And does DoD have any message on a potential response in terms of to Israel? Second, given the number of drones and missiles that were shot down, is the Pentagon concerned about stocks of either U.S. or Israeli air defense munitions in the region?
Yeah, thanks, Will. So on your first question, again, I'm not going to speak for Israel or any potential response. Again, that's a decision for them to make. As we demonstrated this weekend, we remain focused on the defense of Israel and on the protection of U.S. forces that are in the region. And we've been clear from the very beginning that we don't want to see a wider regional war, and we continue to work hard in consulting with our partners and our allies throughout the region to ensure that there is not a larger regional war. And then on your other question, again, I'm not going to get into the specifics in terms of U.S. and partner readiness levels. Again, as we demonstrated this weekend, we have the capability and the capacity to defend Israel and to defend our forces in the region. Fadi.
Thank you, General. I had two questions. How critical was U.S. support to defend Israel against this response by Iran?
Well, I think as our actions demonstrated, the U.S. support for the defense of Israel is robust. And it also demonstrates the long-standing security cooperation relationship that the United States has not only with Israel, but with countries throughout the region when it comes to addressing regional threats. And those kinds of things don't happen overnight. Those kinds of relationships and the ability to work together, to interoperate together, all played out and saved many lives.
And the second question, this is not hypothetical. Chief of the General Staff of Israel, General Halevi, made it clear today that Israel will respond. The Secretary made it clear the U.S. is not seeking escalation. The President made that clear as well. When Israel responds, do you think this will be counterproductive to your efforts for de-escalation? And will the U.S. support an Israeli response?
Yeah, thanks, Fadi. We take slight exception with your question because, to my knowledge right now, there has been no Israeli response, so that is a hypothetical. So, again, we're going to continue to stay in close consultation with our Israeli partners, as we have done throughout the weekend. Again, we don't seek a wider regional conflict, and I'll just leave it there.
Yes, for the Italian television, is the Pentagon talking to other states in the region like the Saudi, Qatar, and the Jordan in case Israel will go for retaliation and they will need military support from those countries, including the U.S.? Are the U.S. ready to use force?
Well, yeah, again, as I mentioned, our focus right now remains on the defense of Israel and on the protection of U.S. forces. If you take a step back and you look at U.S. force presence in the region writ large, we have been focused for a very long time on regional security and stability, and that's not going to change. When it comes to discussions that we have with our partners in the region, of course, those are opportunities, again, to reassure U.S. commitment towards working towards regional security and stability and our appreciation for the ongoing open communication and the ability to consult with leaders throughout the Middle East and Central Asia. So,
use force in case Israel will need military support.
Again, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. What you saw happen over the weekend was an incredible and extraordinary response by the U.S. and Israel and coalition partners when it came to defending Israel. And I think we've been pretty clear that we don't want to see escalation into a wider regional war, and I'll just leave it there. Janie?